Hi, happy Sunday. I think it's been about a week since I last made a video for the COVID virus quarantine thing going on. This video I'm kind of excited about. There are two huge parts to this week's video. The first part is a new project I'm working on. I have been scouring the internet, going through video footage, articles, everything you can imagine, coming up with. Well, I've recited it, oddly enough, by memory. That's the only way you can really recite it, I guess, by memory. Uh, and it is the new project is the wit and wisdom of Donald Trump. Here's what I've got so far. Okay, now on to the second part of the video. I thought I would go over and do a little bit of a reading that I did from the very first book I ever wrote. Graduated from Grand Valley State in 1993, just dated myself there. And one of my former high school teachers, I had ninth grade English and 12th grade history with her, had contacted me. She did a ton of research on a historical woman, real life person. She wasn't quite sure how to start a book about it or how to write it. And so we met for 2 days, gave her a couple different ideas as to where I thought how it could be developed. She called me about 2 weeks later and said, "How about if I just do the research, you write the book?" And she did. She did write sections of it. It took us, God, 2.5 years to write this book. It was my first one. I didn't know what I wanted to write at that point, post college. So I thought this would be a really good opportunity to get my feet wet and to write it. We did publish it first through a publisher, and they pulled a little bit of a fast one on us. They put a $44 price tag on the cover for a softcover book, and nobody was going to buy it. And I think we sold 100 copies in a decade and a half. I think. Yeah, it was ridiculous. We were not happy about that. We finally got the rights back and republished it right here. Different cover, but still. Uh, and it's like I said, it was based on a real person. She fought in the Civil War. She disguised herself as a male. Um, she just had an extraordinary life, and I fibbed a little bit in one of my original prefaces. Said I was a huge history buff. I'm not, and I hate research. So it was perfect that Diane loved history and did all the research. I was able to go to her and say, you know what, I need some slang for this, whatever scene it was. She'd go and find it. She would go over to Canada and she would find it. She was amazing. Uh, so I thought I would go ahead and read a small sequence of it, small scene. It was in the beginning. The way the story is set up, will help. Um, Emma, the main character, she is in her last day of life, and she's thinking back. Yeah, she doesn't know it's her last day of life, uh, and she's thinking back to her life. So she's had children, they've passed on. She's had many people in her life pass on. She has had a really awful existence herself, post Civil War as well. So this basically, sorry, the dog is walking around. He wants to get in on the video. I'm not paying him for it. So she is basically in a cabin. Her husband is gone for work for the day, and she's talking to her ghosts. I swear to God, if this dog brings a ball to me, I'm going to be irritated. Okay, so here we go. Some fought in the Civil War because the South had dared to secede from the Union, while others fought to free the slaves. Yet the war sparked the beginning of another new train of thought. How could one pick out a slave so he knew whom to free? That was easy. Their skin was black, and everybody saw the difference as clear as night and day. But mention there was another kind of slave, and he received a puzzled expression. Oh, yes, there was another category of slaves, and its name was women. Our little woman, a man whispered. Oh, you are tricky, Emma thought. You almost had me with that one. Nowhere did the Bible state he couldn't have a little fun at your expense once in a while. Besides, anyone who believed God didn't have a sense of humor probably never had a one-on relationship with him. Not that he'd just spoken to her. One of the ghosts of her past did. I never knew, another voice spoke. She knew this ghost very well. Yes, you did. Deep down inside you must have. She answered him in her mind. For everything there was a beginning and an end. Emma knew her time was close. Some priests and ministers were fond of shouting the end was near, but whatever happened to beginnings? Whatever happened to those who helped one to achieve greatness later in life? That's the story, Alice spoke up triumphantly. Damned if she didn't sound as she was really in the room, too. That's the story I want to hear. Emma wanted to grant her daughter this request. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough time to allow this sickly old woman the luxury of telling such a tale. "We have the day," Alice announced in a calm, soothing tone. Her daughter was an angel for wanting to give her the assurance she needed, but was storytelling what Emma really wanted to do? Everything had happened. Everything that happened to her in the beginning dictated a course of action she had to take and could never stray from, no matter what the consequences. The ends justified the means, or did they? Had she any right to ask that last question? Where was her faith? Questions again. Slowly, the light from the fireplace grew brighter and brighter. This is how it is in the beginning, after the dark. Light, blinding light. Chapter 1. Sunlight danced in front of Emma's eyes, reflecting off the water pump to her right. She squinted, turned around, and continued feeding their livestock. The light actually hurt her, but specifically in what way she couldn't say. Many of the older farmers in the area wouldn't think twice about irritating sunlight. They continued letting the light bother them, citing it made their labors all the more satisfying to know that they could tolerate little annoyances. One could call such stupidity pride or arrogance, but Emma called it downright stubbornness. Those same farmers never changed their position on any number of things in life, so what was one more going to matter? Still, something didn't seem quite right. Am I really only 13? The thought struck her as extremely odd, but why? There was something just beyond her memory, yet every time she tried to reach out and grasp whatever that something was, it disappeared. Kind of like the damn rabbit that eluded her for several days while she endlessly hunted it with her father's shotgun. Emma sighed as everything around her appeared to fall back into place once more. So that's how the story is set up, and it goes through her life, goes into the Civil War. And if you're a history buff, you might enjoy it. It's kind of what we call a nonfiction novel. If you're not a history buff, you're not going to care one way or the other. But interesting character. I kind of fell in love with her writing about her. She had actually published a book of her own, and we have copies of that book. They're very, very old, but it's kind of interesting to read through her own words and flowery speech. But she had a hard life. She really did. And I enjoyed writing the book, and it was this book that launched my career afterwards, where I decided I wanted to go solo and started writing comedies and getting into the GLBT genre. But this is not actually a GLBT book. Anyway, I will see you again soon. Hope you guys had a great week. Be safe. Take care.